Thank you for tuning into our seller interview series. Up today, we've got an Amazon FBA business for sale in the travel niche. Created in January 2016, this business makes $18,818 per month in net profit, and the listing number for the business is 45579. We do these interviews to give potential buyers more information about both the seller and the businesses they're looking to purchase. We hope these insights are helpful for you in making a buying decision. We've got the seller with us today to go through the business and cover everything from niche selection to traffic and monetization. Jay, thank you for coming on here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Jake. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing very well myself, thank you. And thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. Excited to discuss this business with you, but before we dive into the questions that I have, I want to go ahead and run through a little quick summary of the business. Again, it was built in January of 2016, has a monthly revenue of $49,733, expenses of $30,915 to make for a net profit of $18,818, which is generated on a 12-month average. Included in the sale of this business are 10 SKUs, site content and files, Facebook and Instagram profiles. Please note the inventory is not normally included in the list price. Further details can be provided to active depositors. Jay, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, so my entire background, I started about 10 years ago, and I started out with like SEO and affiliate marketing. Did pretty well with it, but I just got kind of bored with that model, and it was kind of frustrating, like dealing with all the Google changes and whatnot. So I wanted to branch into Amazon, and so I did that, about 2 years ago now, a little over 2 years. And I just like the business model a lot better, especially the FBA model, because it's very hands-off. And I find that the Amazon algorithm itself is so much easier to rank than Google is. Like, it's more intuitive. It makes sense. Like, just as a whole, I feel like there's so much more potential with Amazon than the affiliate and SEO side. So I've been, much happier doing this. As far as this, did you want me to get into this business now, or were you just more concerned about my?
No, that makes sense. And you've answered another question that I had, which is why this over something, other than Amazon. But I guess that kind of leads us to today then. You started this business because you wanted to do Amazon. So why have you decided to sell it then?
Just, probably the same reason that you get from a lot of people. It's one of those things where we want to take the money from the sale and reinvest it into either another Amazon business or, another thing. I want to get into real estate investing too. So that thing that with some of the money from the sale, I definitely plan on buying some property and flipping that or, renting it out or whatever. So that's something I want to do for a while. And I think this would be a great opportunity for me to do that.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Real estate is always, one of those reasons you hear people say, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. So looking at this particular business then, you've only been doing it now for 2 years. Or no, 2016. Man, it's 2019. Time flies. You've been doing this for 3 years now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. It was like the very end of 2016 that we bought this.
Okay.
So, it's been about like 2 years and like 2 or 3 months or so for this particular one.
So then to clarify then, you purchased this business. You didn't start it?
Correct. Yeah, sorry, I thought you knew that part. Yeah, so we actually bought this business from Empire Flippers, from you guys, I want to say it was November of 2016. And the seller that we bought it from had already been running it for a little over a year. So that's why the business itself has like 3 years of history, or probably a little over 3 years at this point, because when we bought it, it was already established.
When you say established, how successful was the business when you purchased it at the end of 2016, and how much have you grown it since?
Well, we've grown it by over 10x, I could tell you that much. So, you can just run the numbers. I think when I bought it, it was making around $4K in profit. I have to look back at the P&L. I don't have it in front of me right now. But yeah, so since that time, it's obviously grown by a lot. It's, you can tell by the valuation.
And now you're here today and the business is doing very well. Looking back at December in particular, you had a very strong end of the year with $34,000 in net profit at the end of last year. So what has been the biggest reason that this business has been successful?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that, so there's 2 main products that are for sale in the business, and there's different variations under those, like colors and sizes and whatnot. But when I bought it, the main product that was selling am I allowed to say the product on here?
No, let's not mention the specific product.
Okay, so let's just say, when I bought it, it was product A making most of the revenue. And product B was something that the seller had like sourced and had a couple of them. He had like 300 in stock or whatever, but he wasn't really doing much with product B. And my partner and I realized that product B actually had a lot more potential. And once we got that ranked, and, it took a little while doing PPC giveaways and all this stuff. But once we got it ranked, product B is actually what like really took off and is driving like 90% of the revenue now. So switching from focusing on product A to product B was a big part of it. And then there was also just things like The seller only had, for the second product, he only had one color variation available. So we came out with more colors. We added an XL size to it, which has added a lot of revenue, like just that size alone, the extra colors, and without taking away from sales of the original color. It was like a lot of people, I think we were losing money because there was only one color available. But once we added all the other ones and gave people more options, we were able to capture more buyers. So, there was that, and the combination of just getting it so that, and then getting it ranked too. Like when I bought it, it was the second product wasn't ranking at all. There was no PPC, like nothing was being done for it. So getting to the top, I think we're now within like the top 5 for like the biggest keyword in the market. I mean, that's definitely had a huge impact.
When you look back at the last year, another thing you noticed was that June of 2018 wasn't as good as December. So what happened then to cause the dip?
Oh, we just ran out of stock. It's happened a few times since we started running the business. Just a simple matter of not being able to meet the demand. Like, sales will spike in certain times and we just didn't have the inventory available, so it ran out, which I guess is a good problem to have, but it sucks at the same time, because we did lose money by not having it in stock. But yeah, that's all it was.
You also sell on your own branded Shopify site, correct?
We have one set up. There have only been a handful of sales from it. I'd have to check the exact number, but I'm thinking it's like under 5. It's a new thing that we started trying, but it hasn't really done too much yet. And then because we're selling the business, so we kind of backed off on putting like too much in Shopify side, like dumping a bunch of money into it. But everything is set up for the buyer if they want to pursue that.
What do you currently do to drive sales or, eyes to your Amazon listings? You mentioned you use PPC some?
Yeah, we've kind of experimented with it like off and on since we started running the business. There were some times where it was profitable and sometimes where it's not. I want to say right now ads are completely turned off. Kind of been one of those things where actually organically it is what makes the most money. So yeah, like I said before, we're ranked for some of the biggest keywords in the market. Well, actually, like the biggest keyword, we're ranked like top 5. Sometimes it fluctuates to like top 10, but it's always on the first page for that keyword. And then, some of the bigger like secondary ones. So honestly, it's mostly organic where the sales come from. PPC is kind of hit or miss. So right now, like I said, I believe it's completely turned off and sales haven't like dropped at all.
Mm-hmm. And you sell in the US and the UK, correct?
Mostly US. We experimented in the UK with product A, the original one, and it was making a little bit of money. Like I want to say maybe like 1 or 2K a month was like the highest that it would make. But it was like right now we kind of just stopped focusing on the UK because the US, takes enough of our time and effort. And honestly, that's where like the majority of the sales come from. But with that being said, like with the second product, the one that is more successful of the two, we never tried that one in the UK at all. And I think that, given how the first product performed out there, even though that was only like a couple thousand a month, I think the second product could do even better if the buyer were to focus on the UK and actually put like a legitimate effort into it. Like I said, well, with us, it was kind of like, a lackluster effort. We threw it on the UK, didn't do a whole lot of promotion for it, and just kind of let, it run its course. Again, this is with the first product, but we didn't do anything with the second. But I do think that's a good opportunity for expansion.
What does it take from you, the owner, to maintain the business as is? How much time does it take on a weekly basis?
For this business itself, only maybe a couple hours. Like at this point, it kind of does run on its own because of the fact that it's ranked very well organically. So it's really just a matter of like keeping an eye on the stock, making sure it doesn't run out like what happened to us a couple times now, because that does cost, as you can see, like it went with, 18 to 20K a month in profit. Like every day being out of stock costs a lot of money. So just being very vigilant about your numbers, making sure that you have enough time to get it manufactured and shipped in. Ideally, you would ship by boat because it's a lot cheaper that way. So yeah, I mean, really just monitoring your stock numbers, keeping an eye on the rank. If it starts slipping for any reason, you might have to run PPC for a couple days or drop the price or something like that. But yeah, at this point, it is just more a matter of watching everything and making sure it's running smoothly. But there's not a whole lot of like legitimate work that goes into it right now.
You also have social media accounts, including Facebook and Instagram, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And that's another thing where we have like followers on them and whatnot, but it hasn't been a huge focal point. So there's definitely a lot of room to improve over there. But the groundwork is laid. The accounts are set up. We do have people following us. It's just haven't really done a whole lot of like advertising over there.
You've mentioned that you have a partner helping you run this business. Is it just you and your partner, or do you have any other employees helping you?
No, it's just he and I. Like we outsource work. For example, if photography work, if we need it done, we have a girl that does it for us. With the Shopify, we had somebody build it for us. Everything is pretty much outsourced, but on like a freelance basis. They're not employees of the company.
Do you know if those freelancers, the connections could be made with the new owner? Would they be willing to continue working with the business?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What do you feel are some of the major opportunities for growth for this business? We've already touched on a couple of them, but are there any others you would focus on if you were to keep it?
Yeah, there's definitely a few things that I know would work out. So I'd say the two easiest ones would be one, expanding to the UK and the other marketplaces. Another one that I didn't mention is I know Australia FBA just recently came online. So that's something that the new owner would definitely want to explore because obviously it's a massive continent and, probably a lot of sales they can make over there. And with it being so new, I think it would be easy to get ranked over there because you're not competing against people who've been established for years now. And then that's something that we definitely plan on doing, like with our other products that we run on Amazon, is looking at Australia. But so yeah, that UK, Italy, Germany, all those would be good. But then the other way would be to just simply add more colors because again, like when we added new colors, we noticed an immediate increase in sales. Right now we have, I want to say 7 colors available. And, there's a couple more that we had ideas for, and we could definitely share those with the buyer. And then with our bigger size, so most of the sales come from the standard size, but we, like I said before, we added the XL, and that alone added $100 to sometimes $300 a day in pure profit just from adding that size. But that one's only in our original black color. So I think that if you were to come out with that XL size with all of the other colors that we have available for the standard size, that would be another way to grow it. Yeah, I'd say those would be the two big, but then, the others would be put more effort into the social media side, whether it's ads or, if you have expertise with that, the Shopify, maybe get it ranked, maybe do some sort of outreach with bloggers to feature the product on their site. That I can't speak how successful it would be, but the first two options I recommended, I know for a fact would definitely add a good amount of revenue.
And on the flip side of the opportunities, do you feel like there are any potential risks associated with this business that a new owner should be aware of?
Well, there's risk with any business, but I don't think there's nothing that stands out. No, it's been very solid and successful for us. The ranking, once we got it ranked for those big keywords, we've never really slipped from the top spots because of the fact that our sales volume stays pretty high. And that's how, if anyone's not familiar, the way the Amazon algorithm works is they rank you based on your sales volume. So hypothetically, if you sell the most out of anybody in your category for that keyword, you'll be placed at the top. So because of the fact that our product is one of the most successful on the front page for those keywords, there's really no reason why it would lose that spot. So yeah, I don't really see any major risks at all. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Would you commit to a non-compete?
Yeah.
And how much support are you willing to offer a new owner during the transition period?
Really as much as they need. We'll definitely do everything needed to help them get comfortable with running the business. And then from there on, they can have access to my Skype, my partner's Skype, our email, whatever they want. So if they ever have questions, if it's a year from now and they have a question about something, they can hit us up. It's, I'm very flexible on that.
Are you open to negotiating on something like an Urn Out?
Yeah, I am open to it. It would have to be a decent amount up front. And then I don't want a crazy long Urn Out. So not 2 years or anything like that. I'd say the longest I'd go would be a year at most, but 6 months would probably be a more ideal scenario just because, like I said, I'm trying to use this money to reinvest in other businesses and property and stuff. And yeah, I would rather just get a good chunk of it up front and then have it paid off as soon as possible.
Awesome. Jay, thank you very much for taking the time with me today. Before I let you go, my final question, if you were looking at this business from the perspective of a potential buyer, why do you feel like it would be an asset worth buying?
Well, I think that a couple of things that I mentioned is that there's still a lot of room for growth. Even though we've grown it by so much since buying it, like I said, over 10x it's been grown by, but there are just little changes that could be made, like adding new colors and expanding to other marketplaces. There's a lot of things that we haven't done yet that could easily grow that revenue by even more. If you look at just the way it's grown since we started running it, it's only went up. So it is a very profitable business. There's a lot of future potential on it as well. And obviously I'm biased, it's mine, but I don't really see anything that jumps out as making it a turnoff for me. If I were looking at it, because I do buy business too, so I can't look at it with that type of mind. If I were buying this, what would I look at? And if I'm selling it, what am I looking at? And yeah, I just see a lot of opportunities for growth here that I haven't seen with some other ones. So yeah.
Jay, thank you very much again for taking the time with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. And if you want more information, the link will be below the video that will take you to this marketplace listing. If you're watching this on the listing page or want more information, become a depositor today. When you make the deposit, one of our business advisors will be in contact with you, and you'll be given everything you need to review this business. Have a great day.